Good evening and welcome to the regularly scheduled Rochester Downtown Development Authority meeting for Wednesday, October 19th, 2022. Madam Director, the roll, please.
Ben Giovanelli.
Here.
Mayor Stewart-Bixon.
Here.
Bob Bloomingdale.
Here.
Tanya Karsten. Eric Diana.
Here.
Lisa Germani-Williams. Paul Haig.
Here.
Chris Johnson. Roger Knapp.
Yes.
Tony LaPuma.
Here.
Marilyn Trent.
Here.
Don Sinkowitz.
Here.
Lisa Swiftney.
Here.
We have quorum.
Fantastic. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for the commitment this evening. We appreciate it. First on the agenda is audience comments, and since the only one in the audience has got comments later anyway on the agenda, I suppose we'll move forward unless there's invisible people out there that I can't see. Liaison reports. City Council, Councilperson Trent.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Approval of the minutes.
You're up.
I'm up. Wow, that was fast. You missed the
Approval of
minutes.
the minutes.
Oh, shoot. No, you're not up. See, you were right and I was wrong.
Right along.
I know. Well, you guys said you wanted to hurry up and get the meeting over with, so I'm trying to get
So moved.
support.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. There we go. Thank you. That was quick. See, the mayor knows how to just stick and move. All right, now you're up,
Okay,
Ms. Trent.
well, first of all, the city council approved the special event application from the PSD to hold Lanyap and Big Bright Light Show event on November 21st. Big news. And the second thing is the consideration of a report and recommendation to approve the 2022-23 health care renewal, changing from self-insured and for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan to Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan ERM contract to be fully insured. It's exciting, but that was pretty much it, and it passed. It was approved. That's it.
Good. I take it there was cost savings therein, so you guys are always really good about that, so we appreciate that. As a resident, I thank you.
Thank you for adding that in, because
right.
there was cost savings.
Support. That's great. So thank you so much for that report. We appreciate it. Chamber of Commerce, Ms. Swibney.
Yes. Well, we have our parade coming up, and our Bill and Sharon Byers are the grand marshals for the 2022 Rochester Area Hometown Christmas Parade. So mark your calendars. We still have availability and tickets available for the December 1st for the Grand Marshal Gala. We have upcoming ribbon cuttings. So ribbon cuttings, we have one coming up November 17th. We have for a company called Fraja. We have La Mise Laser coming up November 22nd. And then the Grand Marshal Gala is December 1st. And the Christmas Parade is December 4th.
Fantastic. Thank you for that report. I understand we had.
Yes, we did have a big.
Chief Financial.
Yeah,
Yes.
so that was fantastic. Yeah, I heard it was a packed house, so finally get that one across the curb. So congratulations to our friends at Chief.
Packed house.
Yeah,
Sandy
that was.
Rolling.
Yes, Sandy Ramon.
That was amazing.
That's fantastic, and we're super glad have them as partners in the community, and see them finally get that joint open. It's been a while. They've been working on that thing forever, so that's great.
2 years since we did the shovel
Oh dear.
thing.
See?
Oh,
Well,
wow.
good things take. It's like fine wine. It takes long. It takes a while, and right. So fantastic. So thank you for that report. We appreciate it. Historical Commission, Mr. Sinkowitz.
Between now and the last meeting, not much activities, but starting after Thanksgiving, I'll be contacting the Rochester Community Schools to get the number of second graders for the coloring books that we'll pass out on Founder's Day. And also, I'll be contacting the different entertaining groups for the Heritage Festival. We've already started that, so time flies and it's amazing. It seems like we just got done with it, but we'll start contacting the different dance troops. We talked about the military groups that represent the 1812 Marines and the 10th Infantry. So those activities will start after Thanksgiving.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Sir, thank you for the work done there. The community certainly appreciates that as well. Principal Shopping District, Mr. Haig, welcome back.
Thank you. We have Lanyap coming November 21st, and we have Caroling in the City, December 4th. We have the trick or treat that went by a couple Saturdays ago. It was great. I mean, it really did pack downtown with people. It was a very successful event. And then we had Rochester Pose, which I think It was a gigantic crowd. We didn't win, but it's okay. We still participated, we had fun, and there were some great windows. I really got a little bit of time to run around, and I want to say that it's really good that the community of our merchants and whoever they were involved with did a great job.
That's awesome. Seems like the bar's raised every year, huh? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they were really good.
That's awesome. Anything else?
That's it.
All right, fantastic. Thank you for that report. We appreciate it. And nice to have you back. General business agenda, economic development, Mr. City Manager.
Yes, evening. So, some quick infrastructure stuff first that affects you guys. So, got the platforms out, Jason Dickinson and the crew. They've really got it down now. In one day, they removed all those, disassembled them, got them put together, and now we're storing them without having to ask anybody to use their property down at the training center. So we got that organized. In the summer, we allow contractors to save us money to stage down there, but we needed all the stuff out of there so we could stack what we want, and it saves us having to rent or ask for permission to use somebody else's property. So all those are gone. 2 of them got hit. Bob knows that already, already. Yeah, so people hit them and they don't turn.
like you knew that.
You'd think they'd call the police or say sorry or something, but no. So a couple of them got hit. We'll fix them in the spring. No big deal. A little thing, but there was a dead tree in front of DeMarco's, one of the original trees we put in when we redid Main Street. It was a ginkgo, it just didn't make it. So our guys figured a way to pluck it out, which, if you ever looked in those little grates, try to figure out how you're gonna get a tree and a ball out of there. And they did, without wrecking anything. And then Vince, this guy from Exterior Concepts, every fall, he calls me and says, I have 37 trees that my clients, he has kind of high-end clients, did not purchase this year. And they're 3, 4, 5-inch trees. And he cuts us a wicked deal. And his crew is amazing how they take care of it. So he's the one who planted the sugar maple grove. So they planted 23 trees in a day. Carl worked with them in the park, in the upper festival area for the art festival. There were always apple trees there, and they've all died pretty much. And so our guys removed them. Vince came in and planted all new crab apples, which are good for the animals. It's by the mural. Again, little things, but now you don't look at dead trees, you're looking at brand new trees. They put bags on them, they put deer guards on them, stake them, amazing. So we planted a sweet gum in front of DeMarco's, and it's tall and mature already. So that we've got that cleaned up. We're cleaning up all the trees in the back lots that were pretty much dead. Replaced a couple where we could. If not, we got rid of them. So behind Misselfeld's lot there, the old Misselfeld's lot, a lot of that stuff's really not good. So we did an inventory, went through and cleaned that all up. So we did that. Most important thing, the city council approved using the parking advisory, or the parking fund, to do what you just saw being done. And I give the community a lot of credit, especially the business community. We closed every lot downtown systematically, cleaned them, crack sealed them, flooded them, and striped them. So every lot in your downtown looks not new. You can tell that we didn't pave them, but this would get us at least 3 to 4 years. And then we're systematically going to go through and repave, mill and fill the ones. And 2 of them have to be replaced totally, which is big money. But it looks fresh and clean. I just went and looked at them all today, and they'll open the last ones, which is lot 3, I think, by Brunch House. That should open tomorrow. And we opened the gates, and we didn't enforce parking. We didn't tell everybody, but we actually made a whole lot of money on the meters because the people that were parking in the free lots, like Firestone and Farmers Market and the elevator lot, went into our regular lots and put money in the meters, even though we weren't enforcing that because we thought it's going to be a little bit of a scramble for everybody to find a place to park. Open the gates, and people still were trying to put money in the gates. I'm afraid to go in because the gate's going to come down. I mean, I won't have a ticket. So we worked all that out, so we're just about done with that. So that was a good move. That's a good investment to extend the life of those parking lots, and it looks really nice coming into the holiday season, so we're excited about that. Obviously, all the lights got on the buildings, and again, they work. Dan's works great with our guys getting all the cones out there and everything. We didn't have any issues at all. So on development, a couple exciting things. Planning Commission had would you say, Mayor, a long meeting? We all had cramps in our thighs and backs. And
We all had injuries from sitting so
yeah,
long.
from sitting for 4.5 hours
Work
listening
constantly.
to stuff. But so a couple things. St. John's got approved. So St. John's Lutheran Church has become like the Holy Family of the west side of the town. It's unbelievably successful, and they have loads of people trying to get in that school all the time. So now they've just focused on they redid the inside, they spent millions on the outside, did all the drainage, all this water storage, and did that over 2 or 3 years. Didn't have enough money to do the addition they wanted to do, so they put in portable classrooms. The zoning board and city council and planning commission gave them like 3 years to do that. And they finally came back with, it's like $4 million renovation. In addition, so they're putting a 30,000 square foot addition on the back of the school, but we already had set the land up for it, so they don't have to touch anything. It's literally dig the foundation, build the building. And they should be done with that by next fall. So they'll get through the school year with the trailers and do that. So they were approved. Most important thing was, probably the most exciting thing for the DDA, the Roxy. Remember they came and talked to you? So we're on the conversion of the Village Shoe-In into an entertainment venue. So we really dug into it. They sat down many times with our staff and with me and the chief particularly to get through this parking and worrying about traffic, how we're gonna handle that. So Planning Commission spent a bunch of time on it, and ultimately we approved it. So we're gonna get things like along Walnut, all brand new trees. Along Pine, rip out all the asphalt that's in the right-of-way that's been used for parking very haphazardly, put a 5-foot sidewalk in and trees and plants all the way down Pine up to their northern property line, which is on the north side of School of Rock. So then we talked, some of the business owners that the last 3 buildings north of that came in and, oh, where's that sidewalk gonna go? Well, you're in our right-of-way. We would really like for you to take out your 8 parking spaces and we'll put in a sidewalk there and trees for you. So it started that, Roger, remember we talked about this a long time ago, get that green belt going back on Walnut. So we've got half of it now. So, on somebody else's dime on top of it. So that's exciting. So they ended up with 268 seats will be inside. Again, remember the premise was go to dinner, find some place to park, come back, go to the show from like 8 to 11, 8 to 12, and then maybe go out for something, a drink after or something. So they're supporting the local restaurants. They don't have a restaurant in there. They'll have beer and wine and spirits, and then they'll have snacks, but they want you to go out for dinner and go out after, not hang around. So we got through all of that. They're actually working with us on an app that would allow them to put on their ticket. So this is ticketed only. You can't just walk up like a movie theater. You have to buy a ticket online. And on that, they're going to probably charge a surcharge for parking. And with that, they'll have a code that can get into the deck. And they're trying to push it to the east deck so people would park on that side, spread everybody out. So Glenn and his group have been wonderful. We found out a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, that after the census came in, that it would have been nice, but the Liquor License Control Commission didn't tell anybody in the state after the census that you got new liquor licenses, Class C free licenses. They're worth $80,000. You would think they would let everybody know. They didn't. And one of the liquor license attorneys that was working to get a liquor license for the Roxy went on the site and said, "Did you know you have a free license?" So of course they applied for it, and then. Excitingly, Patty Eisenbraun, who is Brown Iron Brewery, for 7 years has been trying to get into this town to bring Brown Iron Brewery barbecue here. So her husband wanted to buy a building. So lo and behold, the Michigan Emergency Veterinary Clinic on 2nd came free. It's in the DDA district. It's in the Bistro district. And they went, put an offer in, and they have an option and to close on that building. They want to bring their brewing operation from Washington Township into the building because it's industrial, and then have a 95-seat restaurant, which is Brown Iron Brewery, barbecue there with outdoor dining and all the cool stuff they do up in Washington. So they're also asked for the free license. So unfortunately for City Council, next Monday we're going to deliberate. Council can do a couple things. They don't have to give it to anybody. They could pick one of the two of them. They're both going to make presentations to council and explain there's 18 criteria that you should be evaluated against if you're asking for a free license. And remember, the problem is if you give it to them, they can take that out of Rochester at some point. So it's worth 80 grand. So we're going to be very diligent in how we do this. And council, it's a tough decision, but the good news is on Brown Iron, if they did not get it, they are eligible for a bistro license. So that's like $25,000, but it stays with that property because they have all the elements to be able to do it. The theater can't. They don't have outside dining and some of the things they would need. Brown Iron's buying the property. It's all $2.1 million all in. Roxy's got a 15-year lease. It's really a 5 with 2 5s. Actually, it's a 7 with 2 5s. So it'll be an interesting discussion, and council might make a decision that night or not. There's got to be a public hearing if you actually give away that license. So, but the good news is that's people it checks off our number one thing for the last two events we had at the Royal Park, what the community wanted, an entertainment center, something to do. So this is dueling pianos, it's a comedy show. They're literally planning on going Monday through Thursday with community kind of stuff, then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, bigger shows and things like that. So I think it's going to be great for downtown. Glenn's been super open-minded, Mayor. I think you would agree about how he's going to police it, how he's going to make sure his patrons know how to behave when they get out of there. He doesn't think they're all going to run out on the street singing and everything, I wouldn't think. So we had some of the residents in the area saying, you know, we're not used to things happening around here at night. So, but I think everybody in town is going to be excited about this, so that's great. The Bo Sherry Group, along with the Rewalt Group, purchased now the elevator site. So a lot of things can happen at the elevator site. Everybody knows we want to keep the elevator, but if you've ever been in there, it's not good. There's no water in there. There's barely any good electricity. It's in a little rough shape. But Mr. Mosheri's group, along with the Rewalds, hired Dominic Tringali, great architect, very creative. He's a good guy. So they came in and they brought in their plans last week. They're going to go to the Plan Commission in December. The plan is for 30 units. So if you can picture along water, about 10 feet off the sidewalk, green space, walk up. They look like brownstones, but they're live work. So you buy a 3-story unit, or you rent a 3-story unit. So it's 2 floors habitable. First floor is office, but for the person living there. It's not like get somebody else and throw it. You literally, it's your space for rent. So they do that on University, and then on Water and University. Then on the back side, along Sunrise, are condos. 3 stories, but the first floor is parking. And then on the condos, it's all underground parking. On the apartments, it's underground parking, but just in half the building. So you get the front half and then over the garage inside. So it's pretty cool. And the most important thing is they've committed to keep the elevator. So that part of the elevator that's historic is about, I'm going to say, maybe almost not 3/5, but not even half. But it's more than a quarter. It's just an odd number. If you go out there, it looks like 1 building. It's not. It's 3. So there's a certain spot that's the historic part. There's a firewall there. So they're going to probably strip it apart and redo the whole thing and give it its grandeur like it was back in the day. And redo the whole thing, take the shed off the front. So it's going to look like a brand new elevator. And they've committed to do it on their own dime. They asked the city if we wanted it, if we wanted the historic folks to take it. We don't want the obligation of maintaining that. But they met with the historic folks. They met with the museum, Pat McKay, and we're going to work together to see how we can program it, use it for the community. It'll be a clubhouse, technically, for their folks that you can go in and read, and we'll have a lot of historical stuff. And there's just a nice, quiet place with a garden around the outside, right in that corner. It's in our right-of-way, so we've made an easement agreement so that they can stay there. As long as that elevator's there, they can keep it there. If it ever has to come down for some reason, then the right-of-way goes back to the city. So I think it's going to be really cool, and that'll start working its way through the process in December. Mr. Schneider finally got his insurance company settlement up North Main. You saw now the other walls going up for the second condo between Ferndale and Glendale. We came back, he worked with Randy and our building official and came back with a better way to fireproof this that's a little more stable than when the wind took it all down. So that's going fast now. They want to get that all buttoned up by the winter, and then that's the first 2 units, and then there's 3 more buildings that we built in the spring. And those are going for like $1 million, $1.2 million. So it's big money. So what happened at the Plan Commission then on Monday night, which took us there so long, was a group of people, and Rewalt's part of this also, hopes to be, is a group from Birmingham that wants to take the Solaronics building, tear it down. So you're $2 million going in just to buy the building and tear it down. Then it's dirty, so they have to clean up. It's not wickedly dirty, but there's bad stuff in the ground. And what they came in with to make it work financially, we've had 5 people look at that. We had axe throwing and a bar and an outdoor volleyball with 1,000 cars coming there every day. We had indoor public storage, which would have been nice, quiet, couldn't make the numbers work. We had 32 homes, can't make the numbers work. We had an indoor dog facility, a giant 60,000 square foot dog facility. I don't think that would work financially too good either. So these guys came in, made the offer with the Rushes. The Rushes were here. They did an unbelievable presentation Monday night. They've spent They set it out $150,000 already just prepping for that meeting with traffic studies, interactive models. They know there's 1,000 people have signed a petition against anything going on that site. They want the city to buy it. If we bought it, we're in $3 million and we don't have anything in the ground yet. So that's not going to happen. So they listened to the people. They looked at the blogs and everything and said, we know what your concerns are. We're being transparent. We're going to do everything we can to make this as easy on you as possible. Normally, when you have a traffic engineer stand up and say there's no impact on traffic, they get booed. It's not, I don't think anybody's ever believed a traffic engineer ever, and even though it's all empirical data. These guys wowed the crowd because you could see the miles. You could literally watch all the little cars on the maps and picture rush hour on Rochester Road and Woodward. And if you looked at it, you knew that's exactly what's going on. So by the end of the night, the people, there was 83 in here and probably 40 more out here. They said they're going to bring 1,000 people. We're like, you can bring whoever you want. You can talk all night long. We don't care. By the time the presentation was done, 5 people spoke. And nobody talked about traffic much. It's like, I think they figured out that a plant that could be there could be a lot worse. And it's a collector road. They got educated what that means and all this good stuff. The problem most people had, and a couple of the commissioners, were the mass of the building. It's a 4-story building. It's 1 level of parking. The way they said their price point would be like the highest house on Ludlow. There's some, not the highest, but it would be at the top end of what's on Ludlow. There's houses on Ludlow well over $1 million, but I think they're 500, 750, and they're condos, and there's 106 proposed. They proposed as their give to the city to do a signalization of the Paint Creek Crossway, signal that up so there's less chance and make it safer. We're going to do that whether they do it or not, but they offered to do all that. We studied the traffic at Ludlow University and Woodward and Maine and all that good stuff, but when you see the building, what was it called, Mayor? Southern Mountain something. But it was cool. It's cool. They went with Melissa Ford at the Trail Commission, went in the Paint Creek building out on Orion, fell in love with it. So they're trying to make that fit like wood and glass and stone, but make it Rochester, but don't make it like the Mills building because that's too industrial. So they tried to find this medium ground, but it's still a 4-story building. It's got a lot of mass to it. It's shorter than the trees, which are 70 feet tall. They had drone shots and you could see it all, but it's still a bit overwhelming. So it was just an informational sharing meeting. So we spent 3.5 hours with them, 3 hours with them. And everybody got everything on the table. The residents spoke what they wanted to talk about. And then we talked to the developer after stuff. There's a way to get in the ground, take away the bad dirt, and put 1 level below the ground, get that building down to 35 feet, which is allowed in the master plan for 2-family zoning, 35 feet. Get it more reasonable. Maybe it could be considered. So they're going to regroup and see if they can afford to do that. The city could do a brownfield, which would help them incur some of that cost of the cleanup to defer the cost of dropping that thing into the ground, because it will be much more money. So don't know what's going to happen. They'll come back when they're ready, probably in December, I would think, or maybe January, and we'll move on from there. So all good stuff. Other things, like we have a facade renovation at Blake's, the site of Blake's Realty on Main Street. So he was going to do 2-story addition. Now he's just doing the first floor. He's working with historic folks, and there's not a lot of history on that building, so it's kind of like make it look nice. Greens came in, and so Artera Terracello at Artera bought the Greens building, and he wants to turn it into a 2-story workspace where people come in, you rent space. His group would be in there on the first floor, and it's work environment. So because of that, when Roger brought up we hate to give up this first floor retail space, I told them, lucky you came in now, because in a couple of months, I think the Planning Commission is going to probably take a good run at office on the second floor. You wouldn't be able to do what you're asking for. So they're in the queue right now. Somebody else came in and is talking about another building on Main Street. It's like, you better hurry up. It's in Hillary's old Studio One space. They do these vitamin drips, and it's on the first floor. It's not much space. It's only 600 square feet, I think. But again, we're trying to, it's like, find a place upstairs if you can. So we're working on that with the Planning Commission to see if we can kind of push who's on that first floor. Birmingham does it. A lot of places do it. It's not unusual in the downtown to encourage office users to take the second floors with residential and some of these things. So that's important. We've got, so the Greens is going to redo theirs. Spartan Inn's started the process of cleaning that up. We're going to see how much else he wants to do there, but that's going much better. I said the elevator. We talked to Frank again about his site on Third. But until Frank decides what to do next to it or in front of his office, are you going to talk about Fire Nice after Christie, or you want me to say something?
Go ahead.
All right, so we, out of nowhere, Christie and I got a phone call a couple of weeks ago from Dave Vanderveen from the county, who's technically retired, but he's a special projects coordinator for County Executive Coulter. And, you know, Dave was the guy that wanted Fire Nice. Dave's, as he says, older than salt, but that guy's really sharp. He ran the airport, still kind of is a consultant. He's on the airport board out at Oakland County. And Dave loves Rochester, and he loved Fire Nice. And he's the one that put it together and talked the county executive into spending money to do Fire Nice. And for the last couple of years, they didn't do it. And the DDA, you guys put on your own show at the PSD. And we had the fireworks, and it wasn't the same as big Fire Nice. So out of nowhere, he's like, I got the okay to do it. Can we assemble the masses? So we Christy and I ran out there, agreed what the scope would be. Then we got the team together now twice with 50 people in a room, or 40 of us in a room, to hack out the details. So it's going to be a little bit different. Friday night and Saturday all day, and Saturday night. 2 sets of fireworks. They always complain about it's hard to raise money and the sponsors don't want to do that. So we're like, cut out the peripheral stuff. We don't need a spotlight. We don't even care about your social media necessarily, because there's going to be 50,000 people here over the weekend because it's Fire Nice, and we can get the word out. So we cut back that. We're going to move it all to the Rewald site. Remember, last couple of years, it was across the street on Suave, so you had to have crossing guards, and it was kind of disjointed from downtown. So we're getting the collegiate, and they had already started their whole program. Christie was ready to roll with Snow Globe. So we kind of hit the brakes literally in a day, regrouped, and we're going to have the dog sled people are done. They don't do that anymore. But we're going to have the big food tent. Again, the Mills is sponsoring that. Everything's pushed up by them. The stage, ice rink, again, right on the same property, on Frank's property line. The dog adoption, they want to come back because they did really good when it was there. One of the new Parks and Rec guys, a little different, at the county, and he's like, how about axe throwing in a tent? Okay, that sounds like fun. People drinking beer and throwing axes. That sounds
fine.
normal to me.
Seems
Well, they
fine.
do that okay, so we might have that, which would be really fun. Broom ball, a ton of cornhole, have a little cornhole tournament. So everything on that site. Take the collegiate, and then Chief agreed to block off 3rd Street at the back end of the fire hall. And so we have pavement there. They're not doing the Brooksy anymore. The Brooksy's gone. But on Sunday, who is
The
that?
previous Sunday,
Yep.
the week before.
Yeah. Oh, it's, okay, somebody's doing a race anyway, right?
Leader dog.
Leader dog, that's it, thank you. So that freed up that road, so now we're gonna put like the ice sculptures and stuff on that section of road. We're gonna bring food trucks down there, food tent over here, all ties together, use the farmer's market lot maybe for a big snow hill, have some parking there, and tie it all into downtown so that we still have the marshmallow roasting, all that stuff, and then all the sculptures up on Main Street. So we're excited, we're all working together. They didn't ask us to raise money yet, and we're trying to stay away from that. We'll just make it happen. We tried to do I don't think naturally we're gonna be able to put the snow and make that the sledding hill, which is the most fun thing. And Jen has worked here 5 years and never saw the snow hill.
Yeah.
So Chief sees
It's a
like,
legend.
yeah, it's legendary. There was a snow run, and that takes a lot of volunteers, like 200. So Chief Cezik's like, I want to make it happen. So we found this stuff you can put down the road, but it's $20,000. So I think we probably won't do that. If for some reason we get a ton of snow and it's cold, they can build that thing in 3 days. So we'll see. But we're not committing to that. So we're excited. That's the weekend of 20 and 21, I think.
20 and 21.
Yeah, and normally they would use it on, the fire pits and all that stuff, but normally they did it on Sunday. It was so much effort to put it on. We thought, heck, let people come Sunday, because all that work and you were just using it for a day, really. But everybody that's involved in it's like, it's okay if we don't have to work all day Sunday and all night Sunday to break that down. So Friday night, fireworks, all day Saturday, cross-country skiing and snowshoes on the Rewald, so we can fit it all in. We tucked it all in, and then break down Sunday. So I think that's cool. They'll leave the rink up so people can use it in the community later.
Should see if the county's got a snowmaking machine.
So we
We did
bought
have
them.
a snow gun.
And it's gone. It pooped out.
I'll see
So.
if hit our friends up at Mount Holly or at.
We did, and we would suck the water out of the trout stream, and that would get me mad because you're not supposed to do that, but, but anyway, there was
Put
no
trout guards
explanation.
over it so they can't
Yeah,
suck.
we told them, don't come down there. So anyway, so we're gonna have that, which is great
Why
for
does
the
it smell
community,
like
so.
fish?
Yeah, it was a little smelly water, so, but that's exciting, so we're gonna have that done also.
And the ice sculpture theme this year is myths and legends.
There you go. So there's a picture of the mayor up there in a statue. He's a myth and a legend, right? We talked about that. So him and Vanderveen are going to be together in a statue. So one year Dave made us put a column up. He wanted to have a fire, what was that? Like the fire came out of the snow sculpture. We would put ice, let ice come down a pipe, and then he wanted a fire at the top of it. So we did that one year. We're going to try to do it again this year, but we'll see.
Challenge the fire department to an ice luge.
There you go. There you go. That's, yeah. When that hill was there were some pretty cool
It
things
was
that happened
super
after
fun. I mean,
midnight.
I'll tell you, I've been living in this community for 22 years, and my kids to this day, that was like one of the.
That was awesome.
Yeah, super.
So you never know. We're not going to commit to it, but if we could, we would. So that's good. So we've got all that going. We got Spice and Teas open. They're doing great. They love it there. Everybody loves them. And then, let's see, I've got a couple of people are moving in. That's these ribbon cuttings that we're talking about. Some of the smaller spaces in Main Street Plaza is pretty much getting filled up there, which is great. Like I say, Greens is taken. Blake's they're doing their facade, and Greens is doing their facade. And we're back in really strong shape again. We always want to find a place. I got somebody called that wants to do clothing. It's a lady that I didn't even tell you this yet because I haven't seen you much, but a lady wants to take the healing right by Chris, on the alley behind Chris, the building that was the healing and whatever it was. So she's a very popular pet store, but they cater to cats. So she wants to take that space and gussy it up and be they're in Clarkston. She wants to be here too. So it's cool. We're trying to find these little boutique-y things that we keep backfilling with, which is great. So, city just completed Helen Street, looks awesome, awesome. And then we took our money from the proceeds of the bonds that we had money left over because we hadn't got to the community house at that point and didn't look like we were going to because it came in way over budget. So we had to spend that bond money by October. So city council thought about it, we sat down and it's like a miracle. We milled and filled, which got us probably, 3 to 5 years, maybe 7 on residential streets. The whole middle part of town, Mayor's whole part of town there, so Terry, Highland, Mahaffey, Lysan, all of that, milled and filled, like brand new roads. On my side, on 3rd Street's done. 4th Street's done. Rose Lawn's done. Helen's done. We just have to finish South Castell next year and North Wilcox. And we've got most of the old crappy roads, got a really good Band-Aid on them for right now until we come back and we apply for 2 more DWRF funds, which you bond for a big project, like $6 million, and then you rip everything out down and you come off from storms and sewers and gas and roads and curbs and sidewalks. We'll buy ourselves enough time so when we have to get to those streets to do them, the rest that aren't done, we'll use that process, which is great. So it was a robust summer for the engineering group, and we got so much done. We're really zeroing in on North Main now, right? So they're looking at, it's going to be in '24. So that's not very far away. So the city council committed we're finding a way to fund $3 million to finish all the water loop mains north from the bridge all the way to Tinkin. So that's going to all be at the highest level it can be, great water pressure. We'll never have to rip that road up again. Do all of that while they rip it out. So we have monthly meetings with MDOT and Eagle about that. They're going to fix the bridge, which is for some reason deteriorating kind of quick. If you ever notice the cement by you, Tony, it looks pretty crappy. So they're aware of that, and they're going to fix all of that. We're going to fix the storm sewer problems there all at the same time. So that'll keep us busy for a little while. So great. It's a great time to be around here. We've got our grants for the All Abilities Park are approved. So they're going through engineering right now to redo the old tot lot with an All Abilities play area, and then put a little one up by the Memorial Tree Grove. Got that done. We're putting a connector sidewalk. The skate community is this close to getting a grant for the skate park, which would let us reconfigure the Howlett, or not Howlett, but
Hallback?
Hallback Field, and move the basketball courts and the baseball diamond, then put the skate park in the front and redo that whole area. So it's pretty cool. Sold, this is weird, but we sold like 8 benches in the last 6 weeks between Memorial Grove. So we're putting benches in the new sugar maple thing, benches in the park. Vince had these 37 trees that we got from him. If you look by the tennis courts, 5 gorgeous big maples, and now we sold benches in between them. So that's all done. We did them in the park. We've done them at Howlett Park, the one downtown, and now we're selling benches in the Mount Avon Cemetery, because it's like a park, and what a great place to go. People are in there all the time, sitting on the ground, so now we're letting people put benches in there. And every time we sell a bench, we make about $1,000. That money goes into a pot for the butterfly garden and the things we want to do on this campus. Marcy, I just was able to promote Marcy Morawaki, who you've met before, to deputy treasurer. I'm trying to get the whole structure of us together. Joellen's now the HR director. Marcy's the deputy. Alec is the director of the DPW. The whole staff's falling into place right now, so we're ready for the next city manager. This should be a breeze because we got this all together. Marcy and the ladies upstairs put together a little plan here on the dime. The council gave them a little bit of money to redo the lobby here, so we're gonna put a wood floor in there, a fake wood floor. And then we're gonna take the historic stuff. I met with Pat McKay, and we're gonna have a little kiosk that when people come in here, you can stand there, watch this thing, it'll tell the whole history of Rochester. So someone said, hey, when people come in to first thing they do is City Hall to find out what they have to do. We have a welcome package for them. Now we can say, come down here and you can watch the history. And we're gonna use that showcase that's gonna go back out there. And every 2 months, we're gonna pick a different board and commission, you guys also, and you get 2 months to tell your story inside that, and we'll rotate it every 2 months in the lobby. So when people come in, it could be the City Beautiful, City Council, Planning Commission, DDA, Historic Commission, all the different people can tell their story there. And we cleaned it up for nothing, basically, cheap dollars, and it's gonna look respectable. Even just having the railings done, painted, look much better. So we're doing our best to stretch our dollar and make things good around here. Attitude's great from everybody, and we're rolling. So I think we're gonna have a good year. Great. I'm talking way too long, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Well, we're used to it. It's fine.
Yeah, good point. So.
But no, in all seriousness, thanks for, I mean, it's always just so uplifting to find out all the good stuff that's going on in this community. So we're grateful and blessed to have such good support and
We do.
Good folks running the show. So thanks.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I have a
Oh, wait,
question.
sorry, we had, Nick,
Somebody
we
asked
had one question from the, at least one.
I
Wait.
didn't,
Oh,
no.
we had those two. No, go ahead. No.
Go ahead.
Oh, it went up here too. No, ladies
sorry.
first.
Okay, go ahead.
Ladies first.
Ladies first.
Okay. When you said that Hillary's studio and salon was 600 square feet,
So I think it's 675, so it's really small.
she just, well, I just got my hair done with her. She said it was 1,100 square feet?
No, not her space.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it's not that big, so, yeah. She might be counting part of the hallway, but the leasable space is like
You're talking about
6.
the usable space. Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
And the person that called,
Counting all of it.
yeah, I'm like, you want to waste that space for how many drips do you do a day?
Yeah.
10.
Small. Okay.
It's a thing now. People get vitamin drips, and you go in there for an hour, and then you go out to eat or something after. So it's a thing. I'm like, we have one in DBA. There's already one there. There's one at Adams and South, because our building official's daughter is the head nurse there. So they're here. We make sure we tell them what their competition is so they make a decision. But this guy's from Auburn Hills. He's like, my clients come from here. I want to be here. And it's a small enough space where I'm not taking a lot of your goods. It was a salon. That's better than taking a retail, so that's good. We miss Hillary, but it was a salon with 8 stations there, so that worked out pretty good.
I just got confused with the usable space, which is, okay.
Roger, do you
Roger?
have something?
Yep, thank you.
Yeah.
Nick, I wanted to ask you about, where's the decision gonna be made on, if it's made, about, the rezoning down there, or however you're gonna handle that and get the office off Main Street?
Yeah, so it's gonna go in December and January, so we should have a decision by January.
Decision on how much of the downtown's gonna be that?
Core, so it'll be probably from University to Second,
Okay.
on both sides of Main Street. It'll be
okay.
the core.
Yeah, I question that a little bit, but, who am I?
No, and they're gonna be open for discussion, for sure.
Okay, because I'd like to discuss it a little bit. I was looking the other day and, with this thought in mind, and I'm really sorry we didn't add beauty shops into that same clinic too, because, I mean, I've had an opportunity to rent to beauty shop, and I didn't want to do that because I didn't think it was conducive for shopping. And the other day I was looking on no offense to the DDA, but I looked down in that area down there. Right now, we got a beauty shop, and we've got a office presently. The guy's moving next door, and then we've got the DDA. So that whole, probably a third of that block down there now is not a shopping, nor will it continue on. Of course, there's nothing down that way anymore. But we've already lost a third of that block with non-shopping, and the block was really kind of starting to pick up with shopping. You know, putting new stores in, which would have kept bringing that kind of thing down further. But now we got that, and I really hope we can find something, because it's going to be very attractive for the landlord in that when the guy moves next door to the green building, I mean, it's set up for office, and office, that's cheap, pretty cheap
Yeah.
office space for them, and they're going to want to go in there again.
So the good news is, by the time Artera is ready to move their new space, we'll have the ordinance written. So I should be able to block that. I will say this about hair salons. A lot of the clients are older folks. Most of these buildings downtown don't have elevators to the second floor. You really can't put hair salons on the second floor, or you're going to lose half your clients. And they bring in a lot of folks. When people come in and get their hair done, nails done, whatever, they shop. These new medical spas, I was kind of creeped out by that at first, thinking, oh, how many can you have? They're all full, and they bring a ton of people in every single day. You watch all of them. It's a constant stream of folks coming in there to do what they do. So it's a balance, I think, Roger. So I think just pure office upstairs. I think.
I question if they're shopping, or are they destination store, in and out, and that.
I can tell you from talking to the managers of the salons, those people stay here and eat. At least they eat. And if our stores are open and there's something they want to get at, they're here. It's getting our job's, all we can do is, the PSD talks about this, all we can do is get the people in town. It's up to the retailers to sell them a product. If you're not open or you're not selling, Paul, you've preached this, right? All we can do is get you here. So if we bring people here to get their hair done, get Botox, get whatever you want, we're doing our job to get them here. And we've got good parking, free parking in the deck. So, and then it's up to the retailers to make sure they want to spend their money here. And it seems to be that we're doing pretty good, to be honest with you. I mean, Tea and Spice could have went anywhere. They should have been in Birmingham. They picked here. And there's a reason. They believe, and they're off side street even, and they believe they can make that a go of it. Moon River was the same thing. They're off on the side street. It's a specialty thing where people want to go there for a certain reason, and they go to Hague's for the same reason, right? I think they go to La Pumas for the same reason. You can keep going up and down the road, but I don't buy that. The realtors were playing this. We bring a lot of people in. I think those people come in, sign the papers, and leave. That one I don't buy. That's why I'm not worried about them going upstairs. But I believe the salons and the medical spas are keeping people in town a lot more than a general office will.
And they're coming in once a month, too.
There you go.
And if I could speak to DDA being on Main Street, because it wasn't something that I ever had planned, but then COVID happened, and so we ended up, but just as an example, I mean, we get dozens of people through the door every day, and just from November, figure about November 15th through December 24th last year, we did over $100,000 in downtown gift cards and merch that we sold. So we are a quasi-retail, but the
Yep.
amount of people that are coming in that are like, I need to find this place, I need magazines, I need this, I need that, I want to rent this, I want to do that. We're getting a lot of traffic, and so I appreciate the office coming, but I think we're less office, we're more of a hybrid of where we are, and we are selling product.
And you never had people like that where you
Oh my
were
God, nobody ever, and everybody, everybody hated our stairs. Everybody,
were a nightmare.
they're happy to tell me that all the time, they hated our stairs.
And I think that is the way of the future. These hybrids are different. And who would have thought a medical spa is going to bring 100 people a day? They do, and they're here. So.
And we do fund retail windows to draw them down the street too, because the rule is
That's
every
true.
16 feet, if you don't have something that's visually appealing, people will turn back around. So greens is our biggest concern of what that streetscape's gonna look like,
Yeah,
but
they're going to
beyond
open.
that.
Yeah, they're going to open it up. So you're going to see activity inside there. That's what Vito's whole concept is. He wants it lively. So his people will be out there, and you won't know it's an office, but I think that's going to be more active than a real estate office. Right now, if you go in Artera, it's blank windows, because if they're not doing a closing, nobody's there. These are people coming in by the hour to rent, to workspace. So I think it'll be a good test, if nothing else.
Probably
But
gonna
I
be
agree, their front window, you'd never know that's not a retail store. That's what the DDA's been doing, which is pretty cool.
I think he'll probably start getting sick of people popping in, just, looking for something.
It's been
to
a
buy.
little rough this week. We're a little busy doing things. People come in and I'm laying under a tree. I'm like, I'll be right there. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah. So I think, take it under advisement, and I think at some point, once we start getting further on the path, you probably want to have some sort of an opinion coming from this board to help guide that decision. So
Absolutely.
We'll wait to follow your lead on that one. So once again,
Think
thank you.
that's
Are you good now?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Yep.
I think one more question, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, sorry, go.
The questions that come up often to myself is the soap factory or soap, is that still under engineering?
So they haven't committed to what they're gonna do. If I was a guessing person, I would say that they're gonna rebuild exactly what's there and make the top for them, redo it. So we're being patient, but not much longer. Insurance, they're not quite settled with the insurance company yet, but as soon as they are, we're gonna kind of say, okay, you gotta tear it down or rebuild it. So they haven't committed to a time yet.
Everybody's concern is that the roof is exposed and
Yeah.
the water and the rain
Yeah.
and everything is just destroying them.
I think our rain job on this, you can't get much worse than what we did to it, so. But it survived. It's structurally unbelievably sound for all the water that it took, so they're good there.
And it comes up, City Tavern,
Mhm.
a lot of people don't like the facade compared to the rest of downtown. And a lot of people have commented to me that when you look at all the other restaurants downtown, they're all packed. But then when you look at City Tavern, it's definitely not like it used to be.
I would like to make a comment, but I'm the economic development guy still, so I'm not going to,
Okay.
if that says anything.
I did hear it was up for sale, though.
Oh, that would be awesome. I mean, sorry.
Yeah,
I've heard that also.
it is up for sale.
Wait, is this thing on?
Really? Okay, that's,
All right, well, we need to move along, because I
Yeah.
think the horse is dead.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. We appreciate your report as usual. Goals and objectives, DDA, site development discussion.
Tony,
Mr.
But
Vice Chairman.
I'm his Vanna.
He's my Vanna White today.
You guys were pulling a fast one on me. I wasn't sure who was doing what, so.
Are you ready, Vanna?
I am ready.
Okay, a couple of weeks ago, the site committee had their goal and objectives meeting. We had a lot of great ideas. In fact, Marilyn and we talked a couple of times, and she gave me a couple of great ideas. She gave me a lot of information. So I'm going to start with Marilyn's ideas. She felt it would be nice to bring a little love to our pocket parks and alleys, especially the alley by the parking structure. She sent me pictures. She had great ideas. She sent me pictures of playground material, new outdoor furniture, something to bring the people to the parks. And with her and I talking, we kind of we planted a seed for the site committee. We started talking about the Depot Park. And that park is a little tired. So, and we've been talking about this, maybe taking the walls down, doing something with that tree, the pavers, and maybe now with Mosherry's and Rewalls doing that thing across the street, maybe it's time that we do something. So that's one of our goals we want to tackle this year. The next is my favorite, is the town center. We need, I've been a supporter of this for a long time. I feel this town needs a gathering area. Instead of meeting in a parking lot, a side street, parking structure, we need a place where we can go for every function, the same place. I said, Christy showed me pictures. Do you have pictures of the Dodge Park one or no?
I don't have pictures of Dodge Park, but I have more renderings of our proposed town square.
Okay,
If
good.
anyone wants to see those.
Okay, you want to pull some up now, or?
Yep. So this was the overall plan that was drawn for us that we were working with, and then I'll get into more specific slides that have close-up views of everything that you're seeing there. But this is the existing farmer's market lot that fronts on 3rd and Water Street. So just to orient you, to your left would be the fire hall. I'm sorry, to your right would be the fire hall. So there you go. So it could be a lively space like this, but the reason we're showing this is the mixed materials for the ground. Right now, that lot is asphalt, and we wanted to put in some stamped concrete, some different things to start to activate the space, including using what we're calling creating a village green and having synthetic turf, because one of the things we've talked a lot about is making it both an active and a passive space, because we certainly aren't going to program at 365. It's going to be a great event space for us, and we will program the heck out of it, but we want to make sure that we're also creating a space, so for the times that we're not doing events down there, that people will still have reasons to come to that space to enjoy it, have a little picnic. There's little play areas. There was talk about a splash pad, some different elements that will keep people coming there. The shade pavilion was something that we talked about quite a bit. Instead of just having benches down there, we wanted to do something a little bit more interesting. And so the architects came up with the concept of actually doing sort of a porch swings as public art and doing something interesting like that. So each swing is different, hangs from the top, makes it just a little bit more interesting and feeds into our front porch narrative by being porch swings, which we thought was really interesting. Incorporating art, which is something that I'm very passionate about, using the back of the Huntington Bank building and actually seeing if we can get an easement to put a mural on that, possibly something that would interact with the farmer's market since it overlooks the farmer's market every Saturday. Adding Tivoli lights, because of course we love those, but again, it's going to be a daytime and a nighttime space, so adding something that just adds a little something. And of course, I do like those Kris Kringle buildings, but that's a presentation for another day, so ignore those. And this is something that Nick and I talked about, and this is something that Dodge Park has. If anyone hasn't had a chance to go out to the Dodge Park area, they have a farmer's market, and then in the winter, they remove the floor and they have an ice rink underneath it. And so again, it's just more reasons and for people to come to the space, activating the space and doing different things. It doesn't always have to be about events, but as Nick mentioned at Fire and Ice, one of the most popular elements that we have is the skating pond. People love to come that, and we try to leave it as long as we can throughout the season. But again, these are just some quick ideas of things that we could do at the rink. Of course, could have a Christmas tree down there, just saying. But I think these are just some elements of the town square. Certainly, everything is open for discussion, but when we are talking about throwing some things out there that we want to talk about for goals and objectives, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about this project.
Yeah, I think of like all the different festivals we have. We have Farmers Market, Thursday Night Market, Junk in the Trunk, Dancing in the Streets. Can you imagine if we had more room for Dancing in the Streets? We could really expand the heck out of that. Movies in the Moonlight. I went there one night. It was so packed, you can put another person there.
Yeah.
I mean, Fire and Ice. We scramble every year to find a place to do Fire and Ice. When my wife and I were in New York Christmas shopping, there was a kind of an area like this we went to, and they had a Christmas tree in the middle. They had these nice little glass sheds with someone selling hot dog, Christmas music. I mean, that could be us. I think we're missing the boat. But we had a lot of hurdles we had to jump with COVID. We had a couple partners. I just think it's time we take the horse by the reins and just start pushing for this. In fact, the meeting, we even talked about financing. How are we going to finance this project? And one of the things is we have to let the people know about this. Maybe get an artist rendering. We have a shop on Main Street. Let's put that artist rendering in the front window. Maybe we could raise some money that way. Or maybe obtain a loan from the bank. I'm sure a bank would love to work with us. So I just think it's time. We need our own area. I think this is the next big move.
And to pile on with the funding, a lot of the grants that we're seeing coming out post-COVID are placemaking grants, and this would qualify for that on many levels. So there are a lot of opportunities. Most of them are matching programs, but that's okay.
I don't think can this organization borrow money? I don't think so.
I don't know. I'd have to.
I think we can.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, we've
think so.
bonded
I think
before.
yeah, we have bonded before. There's a cross collateralization, I think, with a full faith and credit of the city, that kind of thing. We'd have to dig into it. I don't think we're ready to pitch a financial presentation right now.
So this is a pre-discussion, trying to get people thinking, so for our January goals and objectives,
Yeah,
that
sure.
people are ready to have a deeper discussion about any and all of.
Yeah, I think last
these
time we talked
items.
about this, we had said that if, let's start putting some meat on the bone and getting the sort of looking what those numbers might look like and looking what, if there is any other funding options, what those might look like. What it might take to do that, so. But yeah, I mean, we're all sort of, we got kicked when we didn't need to be kicked, and now it's time to get back up, shake the dust off and keep going, so.
We have to throw this idea out to the community, though. I think they'll go nuts for it.
Yeah, anything else?
Anything else, guys?
You didn't talk
Okay.
about Lions Park.
Okay, the
Lions
Lion,
Park, and then I got
the what part? The Lions Park, is that by Rewalds?
Yes.
Yes, that one.
So I can talk about that one. So
Okay.
the Lions donated money to us. This is pre me coming back. So this had to be around 2004, 2005 that this project was built. We haven't done a lot down there. We attempted to do some events down there. It's a super challenging site because it has no line of sight. and all the parking around it is private parking. So we tried to host some Thursday night markets down there, do a few other things in that space. It's just super challenging. So we haven't been doing much down there. The biggest thing that we do is there are a lot of people that rent the gazebo for free from us to have wedding ceremonies there. And then they do their actual receptions downtown in the different restaurants. So that's what it's being used for currently. It hasn't had a lot of love. The Rochester Lions funded it to begin with, and they have come back to us and said that they would be willing to invest some money to rehab it. We're waiting to see with the project happening at the elevator, if there's some opportunity, because I know that in meeting with Frank about other projects, he said he might be interested in doing something with this because he is gonna need additional parking, some things that we might be able to trade some land on the other side, do some different things. I don't know if we're even interested in doing that, but at the bottom line, it needs some love because it just, when it was built, I don't know how it was designed, but it's not terribly functional. Like, for instance, they put in a stage but didn't run electrical, for instance. So, so they're just some making it an event space is a little challenging just based on locale and lack of
Sure.
things.
It's
a
that's what I just
it's a
told the
little
mayor.
baby
I'm like, it looks like
Stonehenge.
something from the Greek,
Years from now, people look and say, what were they thinking?
That's right.
What was that?
the aliens did it.
No one knows.
Do we have any idea how often a year that would be used? If it was in good shape, I mean,
So the challenge is that for us to program it as an event space, we need a line of sight to it. We put up as many signs, social posts, everything. People just, they can't really picture where it is. And then the parking by it is all private parking, so we really try not to fill up the Mills parking and now Rewald's parking, things like that. So it just has a lot of things working against it. I feel, in my mind, quite honestly, if we were gonna do something, I feel like there would need to be maybe a little mini visioning session, brainstorming with this group, maybe invite, I don't know who else, some other creative people that do park design, to see if there are maybe some other ideas out there to activate the space beyond making it a true event space. Maybe there's something more interesting out there that we could do with it that doesn't involve event programming necessarily.
Nick, am I losing my mind, or did we talk about maybe, because of this spot being so sort of off the beaten path for us and really hard to deal with, to try and exit it?
So what I will tell you is that Frank and Mr. Mosher have talked about this, and it is a stop on the trail. If you can picture gussying it up, putting a gazebo, not a gazebo, but a shelter, and make it bike-friendly, and benches, and open the riverside up so you can see it, what a great place to stop on your way to the Clinton River Trail to ride. The people, the office people in that area, they come out, they'll sit there, but it's not very great to sit there. So he's talking about making it a place for, at lunch, you just come and sit there and read a book, or take your lunch break and eat your lunch out there. So whatever we could do to soften it, get some shade out there, get some electrical out there, get some plugs out there so you can charge your phones and stuff, that could be passive space as a stop between trail to trail. And they're willing to put some money into
How
that.
big a parcel is it?
It's probably almost an acre.
You'd be
It's
surprised.
bigger than you think.
I mean, so.
Might be an acre and a half.
I might be totally misremembering this, but at some point when I was on council, I think we were talking about just looking at the different parcels that are there, and if we're not using them.
Yeah, to vacate and give it back to them. So I think you're gonna see a push from the office folks to do something there and fund it.
And this is when we actually purchased this one. This is when
Yeah,
it's an
we own it.
easement.
Yeah,
We
no,
own
so my
this
point
piece,
was, is
yeah.
that do some horse trading, right? Sell this one,
Yep,
use
that's-
that money
it's
for,
possible.
right?
We talked to Frank about that too. So if he needed something closer, but you can't, the grade there, you can't get parking there.
Yeah, I mean, this is all fun to talk about, but
Yeah.
until we put numbers to it and figure out what our options are, it's sort
Yeah.
of, you know.
Well,
So it
careful.
feels to me,
Okay.
as we get into January for goals and objectives, to try and, you know, I'm saying, all right, for this park, these are our options, this is an associated cost with it. If we decided to sell it, Nick, just kind of give us a Comerica Park, you know, price, right?
Sure.
Or-
There were a couple other things that the committee had talked about.
The Chase
Yep,
Bank
that was-
property, Roger brought that up.
Yeah,
Maybe talking about, we were talking about maybe having the doc rip that drive-through out, giving them a chance to build some buildings on 4th Street, and then we would develop the parking lot and have one big lot, and maybe build some brick walls, and it's really up to the doc who owns the property, but I think that would be a great option.
Because the city already has a long-term lease with the Masons for the lot that has the meters in it. And so there's discussion about making, what Roger, I don't want to speak for you, Roger, but suggesting that we expand that parking lot, but allow the development on 4th Street to get more retail. Does that sum it up?
Yeah, buildings, the length of the building that's already there on that side of the alley, just all the way over to Walnut, and as we've tried to do in some other areas earlier. And then it would be parking behind there and all of it. And if the guy would grant that area, even behind those buildings, all of it would be metered. Then you wouldn't have to lock it up at night. You wouldn't have to maintain it. You wouldn't have to put lights in it. You'd have to do any of those things. It's a benefit to him to do that, in my mind, and it's not unprecedented. It's been done downtown where we've traded property out that way for that, so.
And they haven't been using that drive-through, I think it's been almost 3-4 years now?
It looks terrible.
Yeah, it's not
it does,
great.
100%.
The only thing is, looking at it, that the bank may not be very excited about giving up their machine there where you drive up and get your money and that kind of thing. And I looked at that the other day. There might be some way to work around that with the parking lot, with him, that there'd be provision somehow for him to be able to do that in that lot, but.
I mean, when was that ATM thing installed? Because everybody's got Cash App, Venmo, like, I don't know how much there is even a need for.
Yeah, you'd be surprised, every bank, yeah.
Yeah, and we have an
That's
ATM
because
at
you
the
only get a
restaurant.
$20 allowance for your wife.
Nick's got it.
All right, point taken, all right.
Yes,
So,
yep, they still use it. Yeah, most of them are relocating them from lobbies into drive-throughs, is what they've been doing.
yeah, so,
Yeah, especially now, I was actually at my bank, which I never usually go inside, and he was informing me that about next year, PNC, 60% of their branches will not have cash inside. You will have to use the ATM if you want cash.
Wow.
oh, then you'll just trade your Bitcoin, like, that's coming, so, yeah.
I don't know that your senior citizens are gonna be all on board with that, so there you go.
You know, I
Anyway,
find-
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
No, go ahead, Roger.
Going to add to it.
Yeah, please.
Actually, what I was going to say, I'm going to cancel it.
You're gonna say something about Bitcoins, right?
No.
There you go. And then Bob had an idea about trail bike paths. Mr. Bloomingdale.
Yes, so, one of the things that, when we talked about visioning, that came up was I'll call it an easily identifiable enhanced bike path that connects the Paint Creek Trail to the Clinton River Trail. So, Nick and I talked about it a little bit, just kind of looked on Google Earth to see if we could identify a path between the two trails. And I think that's something that Roger's interested in it. He's a bicyclist, and we could walk along and have a look. It would most likely go right by or right through Lions Park while it's there, so that feeds into the idea of it being a bicycle stop. But it's something we could look into. With the elevator being developed, that presents possibly an opportunity for an easement through the backside of that property or something. We just get piece by piece a little closer.
The problem we see with, well, we're going to discuss this later, I guess.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, if you went behind where the Rewalt development is, you're only a few feet, or just a very few feet away from the trail that's already there. So we'd have two parallel trails really close. I'm not sure that the cost and all the work would be worth it. And you still got to get behind some of that, but, because that really is a nice trail. Presently, we have kind of going through there. You go down through the other side of that, down next to follow the river down there. That's one of my favorite parts of that trail. I love driving down, riding
pretty.
my bike down there.
Yeah, I would just, we need to coordinate with the commission on those.
And then there was one more project. It's not terribly sexy.
Signs.
Wayfinding signs. So this was one of the worst ones. So not all the signs look like this, but as you can see, these wayfinding signs were put in 2012 as a part of the Main Street Makeover and continued in 2013. It was a partnership with the city. So you'll see a lot of these signs throughout. Part of them were paid for, anything in the DDA we paid for, anything in the city they paid for. But what we found is that the signs themselves, the base is a reflective surface, and then what they did is they cut out vinyl and laid it on top. So what's happening, and you can see it really on the east side of Maine, any of the signs that are south facing, the sun's really hitting them, and so it's starting to peel, and the letters are starting to distort. Again, like I said, this is a really extreme example. Not all of them look like this, a few do, but we're on the path that things are starting to happen with
That should
these.
be a cheap fix, though. You could just do like a wrap or something, don't you think?
Well, could be. I think that is absolutely what would happen. The company that originally made these doesn't do that anymore, so we would have to bid these out, whatever. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to, for future
Yeah, no, I
visioning
think
and
this is like
budgeting.
maintenance, I think.
It's a maintenance thing, but again, goals and objectives, we gotta find money for it. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just pointing it out there because it would be something we wanna do in partnership
As
with the
long as they all
city.
have Michelangelo turtle stickers on them, I'm down with that, so.
Yeah, actually, it's some weird fish thing. It's not a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle,
Oh,
but
sorry.
yes. But I just wanted to bring this to everybody's attention. We noticed it on the maintenance walk, but eventually we are gonna have to do something about it. So I just wanted to put it out there if anybody's looking downtown and they notice that some of these things are getting distorted, that
Everything's a lot of money to it.
we are, state development's aware.
More than they have to sign.
Gotcha. All right,
Anything
well,
else,
yeah,
Tom?
that's housekeeping stuff. We need to get after that, so I guess,
Yes.
good.
Yep.
Anything else?
I think that was everything.
All right, sweet. So, I mean, I'll open it up to the board. If we haven't answered any other questions, I guess just from my perspective, this is fantastic, and I appreciate the hard work the committee did. Sort of triage, right, figure out which ones we want to get after. Let's put some numbers to it, so when we get together in January, we can say, look realistically at the situation and go from there. I still would be curious on particular parcels, and just me personally, on particular parcels that are sort of not been used, just sort of out of sight, out of mind, that we could probably either, try and peddle or, figure something else out with, so. Every option, I would think, should be on the table for all this stuff, right? So, but, yeah, so thanks. Anybody have any other questions on this, or we get after it? I think, Madam, yes.
Yes, so what we're saying is that come with ideas about activating these different spaces, or these specific ones that have been picked out, or town square, all of it, is there a specific action item?
So I don't think so. The direction that we had was that each committee was supposed to come with, meet with their committee and come with ideas that we're thinking of to get everybody else thinking. So then executive committee will put together the agenda late December, and then that'll go out in January. So I think it's based on everybody's input at these meetings, or whatever, of how the agenda will get set, and then that'll get sent out to everybody well in advance of the meeting, so everybody can react to what's on there. Because obviously, we can't do all the projects, but I know, like Nick pointed out, Depot Plaza is something that we've been asked by the owner, because that one we have an easement on. He's been asking us to do something for years, and we've been putting him off, and it's not great. And Lions Park is an interesting opportunity because we have somebody standing there saying, we would like to help pay for something. So, but again, it goes back to, do we want to reinvest in this parcel, or is there some other higher and best use? So I think those two are kind of, obviously Town Square is its own entity, but I think those two are probably at the top of the list, just from requests from the owners and then opportunity with funding. So that's why.
I sort of envisioned at goals and objectives, we would just go through the exhaustive list of all of them, right? And just say, all right, well, this is, then kind of prioritize them, and then from there figure out how to.
Yeah,
pay
some
for
are
it.
now, some are not now, but later, some are, no, we're not doing
But-
that.
But just looking at it in a void without any numbers attached to it or whatever, what is needed or what the different options are for that particular parcel makes it kind of a difficult decision, right? So-
Yeah.
Well, it just would be nice to see all of them listed.
Oh, 100%, yeah,
Because they're
agreed.
like piecemeal, we get over here, get that, and
Right, and that's why we're breaking it down here by committee, and then once everybody does their presentations, then we'll put together the exhaustive list. But we thought trying to get everybody to do theirs in one night would be too much.
Sure.
Because that's the problem we have at Goals and Objectives, is everybody brings all their stuff, and we have 2 hours. And we just never get through it, and don't have a really in-depth discussion, whereas this is kind of priming the pump, getting people's brains moving on these ideas, so that when they come in January, everybody's ready to have a bigger discussion than what we usually have.
okay, thanks.
Trying to be more efficient.
We're trying.
Possibly, that's, very good. Okay, thank you for that, appreciate it. Stay tuned, News at 11, I suppose. Madam Director, Executive Director update.
Yes, so our Holiday Thunderdome begins next Monday. So we have 8 events in 3 weeks. It's very exciting. Holiday Expo kicks us off on Monday. We are sold out, 65 spaces. So that will be at the Royal Park Hotel. We're really excited about that. We're getting the people that are coming, we're doing a lot of social sharing, and we're getting lots of calls, people telling us how excited they are about that event. So we're excited to bring it back. We haven't actually had this event since 2019 because in 20, we couldn't do it, and in 21, all the events that were in 20 had already taken up all the dates in 21, so we couldn't even get the ballroom. So we're excited to be able to bring this back. Light show installation, we are almost complete. Then we'll start punch listing the show. So I would suspect that maybe even as soon as this weekend, you might see the lights on in little bursts as I walk around and punch list the show. So
Sweet.
that's always fun. So that's coming. Festival of Trees, we are building trees at my place right now. We had a record year in terms of number of trees sponsored, so we're very excited about that. We also have 6 different nonprofits participating with us this year. Tickets are still available for the cocktail preview on the 18th, and then it's open to the public on November 19th and November 20th, leading into Lanyap. On November 21st, I'd like to mention it's the 49th annual Lanyap, so we're already, PSD is working on some ideas for the 50th for next year. So
Awesome.
that's exciting. Couple other things. This Friday, the 2nd annual Downtown Cookie Stroll. As you may recall, this event, we started it last year. We sold out of the tins online in 8 minutes. That was 100 tins. So we have 150 this time. So if you're interested, go online this Friday at 10 a.m. to downtownrochestermi.com/store. You'll see it right at the top of the shop. But like I said, they sold out very quickly last year. So if you are interested, I highly recommend getting on the website first thing in the morning. They will go live right at 10 o'clock. Let's see, what else? Nick and I are going to be speaking at the Women's Council of Realtors Holiday Luncheon tomorrow morning over at Community House, talking about, he's going to do economic development, I'm going to do all of our holiday things, letting all the realtors know what's going on around town. Downtown Days of Giving is back. That was something that we started during COVID because the need for toys for gifts for children in families that maybe had their families displaced, had families lose jobs, things like that. So that was something that we started 2 years ago. We're continuing to partner with Neighborhood House this year. We'll be putting out our list of things that people can drop off at our place, gifts anywhere from November 28th through December 1st. There will be a list of toys that we are looking for a certain range of ages. And then also something we were super successful with last year is we put it online that people can make an online donation of $25, $50, whatever, and then we do the shopping for them. We go and purchase toys and gift cards and provide those to Neighborhood House. And then the fire department's kind enough to help us deliver those to Neighborhood House for the kids. And then, as it was mentioned, Caroling in the City coming up on December 11th. We are partnering with the Chamber to bring the parade floats downtown. So we're hoping that we'll have some parade floats lining Main Street. We'll have our ugly sweater contest back with us as well. And back by popular demand, last year we got them by default, the Rochester High School Falcon Marching Band. We got them last year because they called and said, because the parade wasn't going on, like, we have one song, we've practiced it for 3 months, can we please come play for you? So we had them, it was a really great kickoff for Caroling in the City, so we're gonna have them back again this year. So that's gonna be a great one for us. And then our last new event for the season is going to be on December 13th, partnering with our friends at the Rochester Fire Department. We are doing pancakes and PJs. So it's actually an evening event, because who doesn't like breakfast for dinner? And so we're going to be hosting a pancake dinner there where we're encouraging families to dress in their matching PJs. So they'll come, they'll get pancakes, sausage, juice, milk. There'll be a photo spot, there'll be music, and a kids' craft. And that's all a fundraiser for the Big Bright Light Show. So we're excited for that one. We'll be able to accommodate, Chief thinks he can do 200 pancake dinners in 3 hours, so we're going to test that theory. We're going to see how that goes. And then the latest news, you may have seen it on our social, Country Living magazine came out with an article, the 40 prettiest downtowns in America you should visit this winter, and Rochester was number 4.
Nice.
Wow, that's great.
In the country, so we were pretty proud of that. So, yes, so I was, of course, pushing that out everywhere that I possibly could. But we were rolling with some big towns like Park City, Utah, and Taos, New Mexico, some big boys. Frankenmuth came in at 14, but there were some other big cities in there, too. So we're pretty proud of that.
PDA could sponsor the board all going to those sites.
Check them out, see the top 3, what they're doing better than we are,
Let's
yes.
go to Park City. That's good.
Park City's nice.
Yes. Oh, and then Nick wanted me to mention Snowman. So the Snowman Stroll, this is our our holiday public art event, because of course we don't have anything else going on, but we consistently, because we have sheep in the studio, when people come in, it always prompts the question, are you ever going to do the sheep again? And I don't think there's an appetite to do the sheep again. However, we were trying to figure out something that was on brand for the holidays. So we offered 12 5-foot fiberglass snowmen to be designed by local artists, sponsored by local businesses, and we did 12 for 12 days of Christmas. So they are going to be placed on Main Street. We have Buddy the Elf, with Sam the Snowman, we have a mosaic, we have a light bright, lots of fun things. So those will be going out December 1st, and those will be on display through January 21st. And the owners, the sponsors of the snowman, have the choice whether they're going to keep their snowman or if they would like us to auction it for them, with the proceeds going to a charity of their choosing. So every snowman will have a sign, it'll have a QR code that will take you to an online bidding site. We're using the same online bidding technology that we used for the Festival of Trees that we switched to a couple years ago. So people will be able to bid on those as well. So we're very excited about that. But it's been a while since we've been in the public art game, but here we go, because I've got nothing else to do. So yes, so those will start going out December 1st, but DPW is being kind enough to, they were storing the snowmen in the office for us, and then people were coming to pick them up, and now the artists are starting to bring them back. It's a family affair downtown. We're in every department. Our things are everywhere.
It's good. Squirrels hiding their nuts all over the place.
That is
right?
correct.
Yes.
Yes.
So was that a parlay of events and marketing? And
That was a
executive?
lot of stuff. Oh, and then the magazine came out. If it hasn't hit your home yet, it should be there this week. They just hit the post office on Friday.
Okay.
If anybody's been asking, this is Nate Hamoud, owner of Desert Oasis, and his cute little fiance. We shot this in January before the lights came down. We're trying to work ahead. We already shot the spring cover, which actually is going to feature the Ray family, which I think everybody knows.
Yes, indeed.
We got them shopping at the farmer's market, so that's going to be our cover for spring. But yes, yep, so that's out now.
All right, and so that's both director and events and marketing, we're good?
Yes, and then Channel 7 was in town today shooting our live remotes for Lanyap, so that's taken care of. That's everything, yes.
All right, cool. Never a dull moment in downtown
No, sir.
Rochester. Financial report is in your packet. If you have any questions for the director or myself, let us know. Biz Dev, anything cooking?
You know, she covered most of it, but
Okay.
the old Penny Black, which is going to be the Rochester Corner Bar, is going to open up next week probably. And I want to say it looks great. I went and looked in the windows and everything. Boy, beautiful building.
Yeah,
Yeah, we got a little tour. It's really nice.
good, awesome.
Yeah.
Very excited. Yeah, I drove by the other day.
Yeah, the Backos family, they're really investing a lot into town. It's amazing.
That's great.
Uh, If I can ask Nick real quick, have you had anything from St. 1881?
Very soon.
Yeah, they're so close. That's the brunch house's other place.
Gotcha.
So we've been waiting on that one.
It looks great too.
Yeah,
It's
that's,
beautiful.
yeah, I can only imagine. And I won't ask about Chapman House. We're just gonna move on. Site development?
No, nothing new.
All right, well, I think we already killed that one earlier tonight as well, so, okay, that brings us to miscellaneous. Was there anything else that I missed or we missed?
Nope, did you want to go into
Oh,
close
that's
to
right.
talk
Yeah,
about
we have to
that?
go into closed session really quick to talk about receipt of a communication from our attorney regarding a lawsuit settlement. So with that, I think we need to go to a voice vote or to go into closed session.
Yes.
Any motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Second
All right,
Oh,
support.
hold on.
Okay, got it.
or third?
Okay,
Third, fourth?
got it.
Okay, so it's voice vote. Go ahead and call
Yep,
it.
okay. Ben Giovanelli?
Yes.
Mayor Bixon?
Yes.
Bob Bloomingdale?
Yes.
Eric Diana?
Yes.
Paul Haig?
Yes.
Roger Knapp?
Yes.
Tony LaPuma?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, we'll, yeah, I mean, yeah, I think you already know what it is.
I go, right?
Yeah.